Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and this is the Traitors, Season 4, Episode 5. If you're going to come for me, I'll finish you. Which sounds especially threatening coming from the source, which is Colton Underwood.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that it sounded very sexual. Hypersexualized, because that was where my mind went.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to come for me, I'll finish you. Be careful. Be careful, everyone.
Gross.
What? That's what it's called. That's the name of the episode. There's no hiding behind that.
We left off at the turret meeting. There were some conversations taking place around Monet, especially, who had said Lisa's name to Candace in the last episode.
Risky, because who else has Monet been talking to? Maybe that theory got around. Maybe Lisa's name is already out there in the crowd, but you don't know for sure.
And they were also talking about Tara, Johnny, and Steven. That those could all be viable options for them as well.
I was putting Steven and Tommy. No, Steven and Johnny at the top of the list was what I was trying to say.
That you thought were going to be murdered.
I thought that would have been the murder route to go.
I was thinking Monet and Johnny.
Monet's just, it's risky, right? Yeah, because you don't know if that theory has circulated yet.
So we go into breakfast. And let's talk about the food off the bat, because they're making a very big deal out of if there's still salmon.
Everybody's fighting tooth and nail over the salmon. Like, the salmon is the main course, the main dish for breakfast. That's all anybody cares about. And what we've heard is that was like the only meat for breakfast. Everything else was just like eggs and bread and fruit.
What happened to the food budget?
There's no bacon? There's no sausage?
I mean, we've heard before that the food isn't very good, but I swear they had bacon and sausage. And
I thought they did. I
thought
they breakfast
had more food in past seasons.
Like,
for
breakfast was the thing that you would be going for, you know? Like, they had to reward you for making it through the night.
Later on, they're just eating hunks of broccoli.
Yeah, there's just like random vegetables on people's plates.
But like, that's it.
No other side, no starch, no meat, no protein.
I'm like starting to become concerned that that's another layer to the game.
Yeah, if this is just their strategy of, okay, we just have to keep everybody hangry now. So
and
then that
really
way,
start fighting.
Yeah, people are yelling at each other, screaming at each other, which we do get some of that this episode. We do. It works out in their favor if that's what they're going for here.
I don't know. That'd be the thing that would send me home.
Yeah, if there's not food,
I'm hungry.
At that point, too, I'd be like, I'll order something. Like, if I will pay for it.
Is there a Domino's nearby? Can I have that delivered?
Yeah, like, have me cater some Chipotle here or something. Like, I need sustenance at this point. We're doing these missions. We're running around. I'm fading away here. Look at me, Dr. Now.
Send Kristen out to a farmer's market.
Do you think you're malnourished?
I think we'll all survive.
Yeah, I think we would.
What is this show, like 10 days long?
Yeah, something like that. Put Dr. Now on the next season of the Traitors, though. That'd be special. Pull from the TLC crowd. Start with Dr. Now.
Maybe we get Amy from 1,000 Pound Sisters on here with her.
With the 15% brain capacity. Yeah. Oh, that 15% is struggling. It's working as hard as it possibly can.
We need a whole nother version just for the TLC people, because it's got to be dumbed down a few levels.
Yeah, that escape room that they did this week, not the same par as some of the missions that we have later on here in the Traitors.
So Colin had a bad night last night, incorrectly accusing Tiffany of being a traitor.
But at the end of the day, he's a white guy who made a mistake, so he'll be fine.
He's being forgiven by the group.
He's being
but some
pat
people
on the back.
are starting to look at him a little bit. Kristen was saying there's something fishy about Colton. Like, just something seems a little off. Later, Mara was asking, why did we all just go with what Colton said? Because Tiffany's name wasn't coming up before then?
This is another classic faithful thing where you have the faithful leader who is right on the first one, and then everybody follows them on the second one, which they're inevitably wrong on. And then everybody goes, man, why did I let them talk me into voting for this person I had no suspicion of? That is a great question. But then don't blame them for you being naive and following along with the group.
I was annoyed that, so there is a little suspicion on Colton, but it's not really sticking.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time with the fact that Ron is irredeemable at this point for having been wrong about Portia, even though his evidence was something that other people also overheard.
To be fair, like, I think that still going back to it, I think the most damning evidence that was brought was not Colton's theory about Tiffany. It was Eric's pile-on of, I heard Tiffany laugh.
He's getting away with that.
And
I think
everybody's
people
just saying,
really like him.
That's a common mistake. Yeah, you made a mistake. But again, same thing. Okay. Can we equate it to Ron of
mishearing
Ron made a mistake?
Somebody or somebody misspeaking? Yeah, how come Ron cannot come back from it?
Right? Yeah, it was Portia made the mistakes. Ron pointed out the mistakes. And now they're like, oh, well, that was Ron's fault that Portia left. No, Portia misspoke multiple times. Like, that was the issue here. But I think my complaint that I have about Ron is that he's not backing off on anything. He's still listening. He's still playing the game pretty aggressively of, I'm going to still look for traitors. And then he's still throwing out names. You can't keep doing that because you can't keep going a different direction every day, because then that looks suspicious too.
He really is going through the whole list of everybody at the round table. He's
piling on. And,
just one by one.
And of course he's going to lean into Michael because Ron was lumped in with the group of Michael, Tiffany, and Ron. And so then it was, and Donna somehow. I think that was the 4-pack of traitors, even though Tiffany was a faithful now. And so I think Ron's just trying to steer. My best bet would be we could probably banish Michael, because there's already traitor suspicions of him, and he's more grating than I am.
He's unlikable.
Yes.
Yeah. That's where I would be looking, too.
Michael's unlikable. Ron's irredeemable right now. So, like, he stands a better chance of just leaning into that theory at this point.
Let's talk a little bit more about Colton, because I think Colton believes that he is getting a much different edit than what we're getting, especially in this episode. Because this is where Natalie brings up Colton having been on The Bachelor.
Oh, at breakfast, yeah, she's reminding everyone of his reality TV experience.
Because we kind of forget, like, when they come to the castle, they don't know who else is going to be here. So it's not like you can really do your research on anybody. You just either have to already know about them or hear about it from somebody else.
Which is why Rob C. was kind of upset, to say the least, with Jam Jam, where every time Rob C. would walk into a room, Jam Jam would be like, oh, it's Rob C., one of the best Survivor players ever. Mm-hmm. And like play up the fact that he was such a great contestant on Survivor and had won multiple times, or, you know, like all these different achievements that Rob C. has. And so, yes, if you're specifically calling that stuff out so that everybody in the room knows, oh, that's Rob C. He was on Survivor. He's a big threat. He's a gamer. You don't forget these things because it's constantly being brought up.
I was a little disappointed that Natalie failed to mention the fence hopping.
The fence, yes. How would you not? I would have joked that's why we have to have higher gates here at the castle, is because they knew
Colton from running away.
Colton was coming this season.
And you know, the stalking. They kind of skipped over that part.
Well, yeah, that's the restraining orders in place and
Dorinda is so thirsty, because that's kind of how this conversation picks up a little bit more traction at the table. Is Dorinda had no idea that Colton was on The Bachelor. She's just learning this for the first time. And she's finding out, okay, so you went on The Bachelor, you dated a group of women, you later came out. I missed that window.
Yeah, I could have taught you a thing or two.
And also
if I had
Rob in his overalls.
Well,
which she was very complimentary of.
Johnny Weir as well, where Johnny was like, I can't even look at him. He's so hot. I can't even look at him. He had to avert his eyes.
I'm so glad that Johnny is still here today.
Well, spoiler. Yeah, Johnny's still here.
Yeah, Johnny makes it.
Well, Dorinda, Alan was pointing out how thirsty Dorinda is in the last episode, too, about how it's been a while since she's had a ride. So that tracks.
And that involved Rob.
Confirmed. Yes, confirmed.
I think Dorinda's made a couple of comments at this point.
Maybe they're editing around some of those jokes. That's been like a running narrative for her, is that she's in a bit of a dry spell, I suppose. I guess
she's looking to break that.
Looking to break her streak.
We have our survivors walking in slowly. So Michael, Jam Jam, and Ron all come in together.
That's the group. That is
a production choice. Three people who have been strongly accused by Tiffany of being traitors.
Put together, in a group here for breakfast.
They all survived the night despite being up for murder. Johnny and Tara walk in last. And that means Monet is gone.
Dear Monet.
Which I'm disappointed in because I enjoyed Monet.
Monet was great.
I would have liked to have seen a lot more from Monet, but if I'm a traitor, I think that was the right choice.
Monet was the threat. Yeah, that was still, it was a risky play though.
Yeah.
Because, you don't know if that theory has circulated already. Are you getting in front of something or is it too late? So they did the right thing, I think, strategically, but it was a little bit risky. It doesn't seem like it's had an impact. So maybe that was the only mention. Monet just happened to bring it up to Candace, and that was the worst person to talk to.
Nobody's really understanding why Monet was murdered.
Yeah, everybody's trying to figure out, like, what is the reason? And we're not able to piece that together. So Candace may have been the only person that Monet mentioned this concern to.
Which also, we were talking a lot last episode about Candace's gameplay as a traitor. She's having a really hard time because all of the people who I think are at the top of her list of faithfuls who might go to the end with her are having to be murdered or banished.
She's sticking with Tara and Johnny, though. So I think that's like her core now. But if you're eliminating all these other routes where it's like, this is my faithful friend group that I'm going to try and take to the end and be faithful to, that's going to be hard because you're limiting your options essentially for the end game here.
Yeah.
And it seems like she has experienced most of that. What with it was Portia went first. Portia and Tiffany were both banished, and now Monet being murdered. It's like, oh no. Yeah, that was a lot of people that Candace saw herself potentially being at the end with.
Yeah.
But now it's all gone.
Which I think shows that you need to be constantly pivoting in this game. You really can't walk in and decide what your route is going to be and then hope that it all works out.
Well, also you can't be
protecting people.
And like you can't be too aggressive about like, no, I want to protect this faithful.
Yes.
Because then that is way too obvious of what you're doing as well for your later stages in your game.
I do like that. I feel like this season is really breaking a lot of the preconceived notions that people have of the game. That being one of them, that if you get close to a traitor, they're going to protect you, because we're not really seeing that work out.
No,
they're very like, if it comes down to me or you, it's going to be me.
Well, and they're prioritizing, right? Because there is that competition side of things where it's, you do need to make friends with faithfuls as a traitor, because that's how you get to the end of the game. But also, if you have faithfuls who are posing threats to you and your fellow traitors, then they're protecting each other. They're prioritizing protecting the traitors over friendship with faithfuls, which at this stage in the game is still very important. There's still enough people where you can get by.
They're going to have to turn on each other at some point.
It's going to happen. But yeah, I think this season has been like a breath of fresh air for seeing the traitors work together. That was something that we were like really, really happy about so far in these first 5 episodes, is that the traitors are going out of their way to work together. Obviously not for Donna, but Donna was on the outs. They would have protected her had they known that she was a traitor, but they had no way of knowing.
That was a failure of the game.
Yeah, that was
design.
That was a production pick that they should have swapped out. Donna should have been a known traitor, so she had a built-in protection level there, and then gone with somebody else as the secret traitor who might have been able to fly under the radar a little bit more.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of conversation about like, why isn't there a gamer in the turret? It's kind of taking the fun out of it for people because they want someone who's going to think really strategically, which I don't think that this group's doing a bad job at being traitors.
Yeah.
But I like that they're constantly trying to figure out on the production side of things, how do we make it so the next group who comes in here continues to not really know what's going on?
The show's different because it was the same thing last season, but in a different category. So like this season, people are like, oh gosh, they didn't pick a gamer to be a traitor. I'm really missing out on all this stuff. Well, they picked some gamers for Traitors last season, and it was cutthroat from the start. There were traitors who were betraying traitors all over the place, and there were multiple instances of that.
Which we all complained about,
Which
remember?
that was, well, not all, but
a
like,
lot of people complained it
people.
was not fun to watch the traitors not be able to work together at all.
So that's what I'm saying, is where there's like this balance, because then there's people who saw last season and they liked that. They liked those elements of the traitors backstabbing and, you know, plotting against each other and seeing how that played out in the group and the confrontations that came from that, the arguments in the turret. They liked that. So now when they're watching this season, they're like, what is this? It's very different. But I think that's what I like about the Traitors is it's very different. It's a totally different game every single season, just because of the people involved, the scenarios they find themselves in, the choices they have to make under very quick circumstances here, limited time. It's just all of those elements that roll into it where it's a very unique viewing experience every season.
Right. It wouldn't be fun if everybody walked in the house and went, okay, there's definitely a housewife and there's definitely a gamer.
We just have to figure out which ones.
Traitors.
Yeah, that's boring.
Which has been a conversation in the past. So I like that this is kind of shaking things up. We're picking people who are less likely to be seen as a threat because people just assume they're not going to think as strategically.
Right. Yeah, I think that's an interesting part of it, of the traitors that they did choose, except for Donna, because then everybody was like, you're too obviously under the radar.
Yeah. This is so hard. You have to cast people who have the ability to have charisma and make friends in the house. Then these traitors have to be able to get along with each other and want to play with each other.
Blending in.
They have to be unassuming.
They have to blend everywhere.
Yeah. And they have to bring an audience that's going to root for them.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to cast for traitors. And then it's hard to select the traitors too, because we were saying before the season, oh, Mara would be a great traitor. Well, on paper, yeah. But then seeing her in gameplay, she is absolutely a quintessential faithful. She would be a terrible traitor, actually. Eric would be a terrible traitor. I don't think he would be able to be as fun and easygoing if he was nervous about being found out as a traitor. There's the psychological element of being a traitor in this game too, that kind of weighs heavy on certain people.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Eric, actually. So after he gave that very incorrect evidence last night against Tiffany, he was really remorseful and felt super bad about the fact that he vouched that it was 99% her. He was so positive. And then obviously she was a faithful, not a traitor.
Her. Yeah.
Now that's very different from Colton, who took this big swing, was incorrect, and then is saying, I'm not going to change anything about the way I'm playing.
Moving on to the next one. Yeah. Yeah. A little different on the mindset. Like, would Colton have been a good traitor? Maybe, like, potentially, because there is this just...
I'm just shocked.
Cold-heartedness in the way that he plays, right?
Which is what they're showing to us.
Yeah, and different from the
Pilot Pete's of the world.
Yes.
You know, it's very, like you said, it's very, like, cold, cutthroat.
Calculated.
Which you are here to play a game.
Yes.
But then part of this game is that there's a certain level of humanity and getting to know each other and forming friendships that's important.
I wouldn't like the way that Colton's playing as a faithful either. So, like, we know that he's a faithful as we're watching the show. The way that he interacts with people and the way that he questions people, where he'll ask, oh, is that how you know these, you know, like the questions that he threw at Tiffany at the round table. Oh, so you're admitting that you're a traitor? Like, trying to catch people in turns of phrase or things that they're saying. Like, it's very witch trials to me, you know, like the way that he goes about it. And I don't like that. And so there's a vibe there, just the way that he gets very intense. And he's saying that this is part of his game, is that that's how I get information, is from doing this. Okay, well, I don't want to talk to you if that's what you're doing. So, like, you're going to assume that I'm a traitor because I don't want to talk to you, and then that's your confirmation for me being a traitor, then you can go ahead and assume that, but I don't want to talk to you if this is how you're going to talk.
Well, that's why I find this show so fascinating, because we're seeing Colton getting away with that being his approach to people, but then someone like Ron has been put on the outskirts of the castle and isn't able to form friendships or interact with anybody because he was wrong one time. I mean, he's been wrong a lot, but like the first night was like the damning thing that nobody will forgive him for.
Well, then everybody's, like done with him. It's like the first person, it was like that game. What was that game where they had to escape from the house? It was Gotta Get Out. Remember that show?
Oh, on Hulu.
On Hulu?
Yeah.
So there was Gotta Get Out. There was the first guy who tried to escape, and then everybody was like, oh, that's Steve. Steve's the guy who bails. He's the guy you can't trust anything he says. And then there was the other guy who was like constantly making a break for it, but he was playing as like a dopey dippy dude. And then everybody was like, that guy, he tried again. But
he's so silly.
Yeah. So it's like this forgiveness that happens when like somebody's not threatening, dopey, or like there's not that calculatedness behind it, I guess. But I feel like that's
kind of not what's happening here.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's more with Colton. Like you have that.
This show's got to be studied.
What is going on? Yeah, like there's this inverse that happened where everybody is like so down on Ron because he was the first one who was wrong to make this accusation. And he was, I guess the bigger thing is that he was too close to Donna. Too close to Donna. Donna went out as a traitor. And so now it's like, oof, that looks real bad.
2 strikes against you.
That looks real bad in this game. But honestly, as a faithful that early in the game, you're bound to be friends with a traitor. The traitors are out here to make friends with the faithfuls. So like, that's what they're doing. But that's the scary part. People don't want to analyze that. Oh, I'm probably friends with a traitor right now. I'm probably talking game and speaking in theory about like what my suspicions are with a traitor.
People, I believe, like to think that they're better at discerning somebody's character.
Yes.
And when they realize that they've been fooled so easily, that's like very embarrassing.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's get back to the chit chat that's happening in the castle after breakfast.
Because this was where Kristen had pulled Candace aside and was like, Colton's a traitor. I'm zeroing in on it, but like I got that read.
The 2 names that are really circulating in the morning are Ron and Colton, because Lisa has decided that she's got to join on the bandwagon to go after Ron.
Lisa had the concerns that Monet had raised. The reason why Monet was murdered was because Lisa was being too quiet. Colton had thrown Lisa's name out at the end of the last episode. So like right before bed, Rob had to explain to Lisa, Colton's saying all this stuff about you, how you're too quiet. Dorinda was corroborating that. This theory is picking up steam here that Lisa could be a traitor.
Now she's going to say the name that's been said for the past 3 nights by Candace.
So brave.
Yeah, so brave really to come out and really, take a big risk with saying Ron's name.
But like, I think
also it's like too late.
It's too late.
He's really starting to become someone who, much like Kate Chastain, they're just keeping him around because I think some of them are like, I'm pretty sure he's a traitor, but that's okay.
I don't have to keep an eye on him now. I'm just going to categorize him definitely as a traitor and then leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. Or they feel like maybe he's been isolated from the rest of the traitor group and that at this point he's not really a threat because he's not operating in the background.
Those are the best faithfuls to recruit as a traitor later on.
Yeah.
Because then
you get to go, they were the whole time.
The other traitors get to say, here's this person up very clearly. Everyone suspected that this was a traitor. Mm-hmm. And so obviously they get thrown under the bus. And then everybody gets to pat themselves on the back for being right all along that Ron was a traitor from the start. And we knew it because we have great judge of character. Clearly.
Ron now thinks that Dorinda and Michael are the traitors.
I don't know why he's wanting to voice this at this point. It's like...
I continue to feel bad for him. I think he just wants to play. He came here to be on the show and play the game, and he's operating with almost no information. It's really just what he's able to gather from watching other people.
And I think he's feeling like Dorinda is coming after him because like Dorinda's probably saying stuff about him. Because then she says multiple times in this episode, I've tried to get to know you, Ron. I tried to talk to you about your family. I try to talk to you about your life outside of the game. And then he's like, I don't divulge any of that because that's not your right to know.
I think he's overly paranoid at this point.
He's very paranoid.
And
now.
He's afraid that any information that he discloses is going to be used against him.
Right. He is pleading the fifth in most cases now for his own protection. But then that looks bad because then it looks like you aren't being forthcoming. You do not have good intentions when you're speaking to people. You're only wanting to get information without giving any information. So there's all of these complications that come up from that as well.
You want to go to the mission?
Yeah, the mission, there's a lot of moving parts to this one.
Yeah. So there's a big fountain that is in disrepair. It's missing all of its statues that line the outside of it. So what they're going to have to do is jump into the fountain, which is filled with
coins,
red colored water.
Oh, well, yeah.
And then the coins are down below.
The coins, there's like coins that stipulate locations of where the statues are, but then there's a lot of decoy coins. That's a hard thing to say. But there's ones that don't have an address on them, I guess. It's like different places on the grounds where you're going to have to run and grab the statue and bring it back to the fountain within the time period.
There's a catch, though.
There always is.
So there's actually two catches. There's one to making sure you get money at the end of this, which is every single one of those statues needs to be restored by the end of the challenge.
And you have to turn the fountain back on. There's like a big wheel you have to crank.
A big moment of the water spraying up through it.
Of course. Well, yeah, it's all or nothing, so you got to get them all.
The other thing is these statues, when you go to find them, may have shields underneath them. And if you choose to take a shield, you are fucking the entire group because there will now be a murder.
Right.
If no one here takes a shield, there will not be a murder by the traitors.
So everyone is shielded as long as no one actually takes a shield.
Thank you. A much better way to state that.
Well, and so like that's the interesting part is the ones that they're finding. So as they're digging through the fountain, which some people are struggling worse than others.
Candace is afraid of getting a yeast infection in there, and I can't blame her.
You don't know what they used to dye the water red. Is it rusty?
I kept looking at all the clothes
tetanus
that people were wearing and thinking about jumping in there and like that. I was thinking the red dye is never coming out of any of this stuff.
Oh, that too, yeah. But like the part that got me was very clearly there were some people who were like, okay, there's going to be people who are going in the fountain to find the coins. I'm going to stay out here. But like the sheer number of coins and the difficulty that people were having finding them, no, eventually everybody needs to jump in because we need to be looking for these coins because we cannot find them with just the people that we have in here. So that means Candace is rolling up her pants and she is stepping in there screaming the entire way. Her and Lisa, because Lisa wasn't having a good time in the water either, but Candace really took the cake as far as not enjoying this at all.
She's renewing her Teledoc subscription. They should have been more methodical about how they scanned the bottom of this fountain for coins, because everyone's just like chaotically moving in different directions. And you're probably disturbing the coins on the bottom of the ground and like pushing them all around.
You're wanting to like funnel them like a school of fish?
I think everybody should have started standing near the innermost part of the fountain and they all should have worked their way out.
Oh, okay. So you're saying in to out. I was going to say out to in, but
yeah,
in to out might make more sense because then as you get further away, you're going to clear the zone. You just take one step forward and then fish around again.
We need more of like a SWAT approach to how we're getting the coins out of the fountain.
Breach and clear. Yeah, you got to drop a glow stick when it's clear. So that way you know nothing behind you.
They're also broken up into 4 different teams.
Right, because these statues, they're big, they're heavy. You got to lug them back.
And they smell like shit.
Apparently. Yeah, what was that about?
It must have been whatever they sprayed them with, like some spray paint or something.
I know, production's like...
They just finished them up this morning. I'm constantly worried about the pyrotechnics on this show. Like, they love their fire. If something smelled, I would be afraid to pick it up.
Smell like sulfur? Does it smell like gunpowder? What does it smell like?
Does this smell like it's going to just spontaneously combust?
It's going to blow. Pretty much, yeah. It's stuff that you got to worry about on the Traitors. Something that you're picking up may be laced with high explosives.
We watch our teams run out for their first statues. We have Tara, Mora, Kristen, and Rob. They all see a singular shield.
Singles. Yeah. Single shield.
And they decide, no, we're going to leave this behind.
Obviously, because that's what they kind of stipulated out beforehand in the larger group before they started looking for the coins and stuff, was anybody who takes a shield is a traitor, basically. So that's kind of what they're saying, is that the only incentive that someone would have to take a shield
is to want there to be a murder.
So that they could murder other people who do not have shields. Yes.
The next group is Natalie, Johnny, Michael Rappaport, and Dorinda. And they do decide to leave their first shield behind.
Because there was one shield in there. They took one peek and they were like, oh, that's not worth it.
But there are quite a few names in this group who have suspicion on them.
Right.
And they're thinking, maybe we do need the shield.
When they were breaking up the group, they were trying to say, oh, put somebody in each group who we trust so they can police the group, basically. And I think if you're saying that Natalie is your person who's going to police this group who you don't trust of these other three people, I don't really trust Natalie in that group.
She was the one who was really debating whether or not they should trust everyone else.
Correct.
Or if they should go ahead and take shields.
So I can't find who the police officer in this group is who's supposed to be saying, yeah, we're not picking up the shield because that's bad.
They're on the radar for being a team to watch out for, but then also risk. Colton, Candace, Mark, and Lisa. I don't understand why Lisa and Candace went in the same group.
Yeah, that's not good, because then you don't get eyes on another group. You're not sure if somebody took a shield.
Right. At least you then know 3 out of the 4 groups. Now we're just 2 out of the 4.
Right. Because even at that point, if you have a traitor in 3 of the 4 groups, even if the 4th group picks up shields for all of them, well, you weren't going to pick any of them anyway, because now you know all of the people in the other group. You know what I'm saying? Those people, if they picked up shields, now the murder is in play, but we wouldn't be able to murder those people anyway because they have
murder
shields.
From the groups that you are sure did not take shields.
Correct. Yes.
Well, Colton's in this group, and he is playing like a traitor because they don't take the first one that they find.
Yeah, most of them that they find first, but for whatever reason,
really talking about it.
It was the single ones. There's one underneath the statue, one singular shield. So if in a group of 4, how are you going to be able to convince people, hey, I'm going to grab it because there's one shield? No, that doesn't make any sense, because if all of you leave it, then all of you have the shield. Nobody needs to pick up the shield here. Mm-hmm. That's not really a difficult choice at this point. So everybody's looking at that. I'm not sure where the temptation is coming in until we get to the last 2 statues. By some miracle, the last 2 that they went to, when you take a peek under those statues, there's 4 shields underneath each of those. So your entire team who's carrying back the statue now could be protected, and you can leave everyone else vulnerable. That is a little bit more tempting.
Yeah. Yep. And Colton points that out. He's like, before they even get to the statue, he was saying, I think that we should have a conversation about the shield when we get there.
Because he was talking about 1.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to be a dick and grab 1.
A treasure trove.
And now there's 4. And so Lisa and Candace are kind of like, I don't know. They're trying to sort of nudge
They want him to take it.
They want him to take it.
Because then they'll get to have their murder tonight.
But then they don't want to be responsible. They don't want to be part of the group that takes the shields that puts everybody else at risk, though, because then that looks really bad.
Yeah. You would have to be able to position it like Colton insisted that he was going to take a shield regardless of whether or not you took them.
Yep.
And so you took the shield too.
Because I knew I was going to be up for murder because Colton was taking it.
Yeah.
I think that's
the only way you could get away with that.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's working against them is that they have Mark in their group. Otherwise, Candace and Lisa could have lied about this.
That's not going to be helpful either for Colton to be in the group with Lisa, where he was just going so hard on her about being a traitor. Why would she be in your group and then you're picking up a shield with her?
Trying to keep an eye on her.
I know, but that's just weird. Then why would you be wanting to benefit her game if you think that she's a traitor?
I don't think he's really got anything. He's not as smart as he thinks he is.
He's very self-serving.
Yes.
He's
thinking
selfish
about himself and his own game.
Yeah.
And like he said yesterday, I'm going to take a big swing and I could miss, and that could be the end of my time being here. I think he's thinking that the backlash is coming at some point, and he's got to protect himself from it.
So that we're kind of torn. We don't get to see if anybody picked up a shield, like took a shield.
Also, the other group with Natalie, Johnny, Michael, and Dorinda, who are our other highly suspicious group as far as being very interested in the shields, they find another 4.
They got itchy palms over there. Yeah, because as soon as they see there's 4 shields underneath, they go, ooh, that's interesting. Johnny picked one up immediately and was looking at it like, hey, are we taking these? And it's like, don't pick it up, because now you're like halfway there where you already have it in your hand. Don't touch it. Don't look at it too hard. Like,
I'm actually a little suspicious now, thinking about how the round table goes, that maybe some people in this group were a little emboldened because they knew they weren't going to get murdered tonight.
Right. Yeah. The survivor people are always the people who are like, I need a shield at whatever cost. And they go for those shields. And it's like, why? Because they don't trust the other groups entirely, but it's groups of 4. So do you think there's going to be 4 traitors in another group? Like, probably not, right? Who are going to secretly take a shield, or collectively their entire group?
You're always having to balance in this game protecting yourself and your social game with the other people in the castle.
And sometimes protecting yourself at the expense of the group heavily impacts the social game.
Yes. Yeah.
So we don't really know. We don't get to find out any of this stuff of like who took a shield. And then they're basically saying, oh, we'll find out later. So then we're thinking, oh, maybe after the round table, something like that. I don't know.
They kept it a secret from us.
Keep dragging it out here.
But they do manage to restore all of the statues to the fountain in time. So they end up adding $16,000 to the prize pot, which means they're currently at $106,000. We're getting almost halfway there.
Yep, getting close.
And we don't know if any shields got taken. So they head back to the castle. And Ron walks in as Dorinda and Steven are talking to each other. And that's when Ron turns to Dorinda and is like, well, my suspicions now on who the traitors are you and Michael.
And I mean, Dorinda handles it well, because she's basically like, I don't know why you're coming after me, Ron, because you're not really in a position to be making accusations.
It's kind of like he's taking a shot in the dark.
Well, and she feels bad for him at this point, too, where she's like, oh, honey, no, like you're still way off track with this stuff. Like it's almost, she pities him, in this theory where it's like, oh gosh, I can't believe you're even bringing this up to me. But he's sticking with it.
I thought it was a little crazy to still be thinking that Michael's a traitor, but then cut to Colton, who has been circulating a number of names already today.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's on to Michael, and he's pointing out that everyone who voted for Michael at the round table the first night is now gone.
Except for Jam Jam, who has had very public spats and animosity between him and Michael. So that would be too obvious for Michael to murder Jam Jam, because they have open disputes.
Is Jam Jam the other traitor?
Jam Jam the other traitor?
Doesn't really seem like Michael is capable of working well with another person. So if he is a traitor, maybe they're not getting along as traitors and they're already trying to throw each other under the bus.
Interesting. Yeah, that could be a play.
He's not wrong about the evidence he's collecting, but what he's inferring from it is incorrect.
Yes, which Rob was even, again, it's impressive with the work that goes into the theories that Colton is able to craft here. Still the wrong answer, but all of the work to get to the bottom of that, very impressive. So,
right until we put the answer down.
Yeah, it's still the wrong conclusion, but like, I like how you got there. I like your train of thought. I like the way you're thinking and playing the game here. But then we're leading to, it's Colton and Michael Rappaport kind of facing off, because
Michael walks into the kitchen as they're having this conversation.
Well, I think it started off because Michael kind of goes through phases here, where it started off as just like a regular conversation. And then Colton throws out a joke of...
as they're eating, there are very large pieces of broccoli.
Very large pieces of broccoli. Yeah, I was trying to enjoy my
Nobody's having
meal.
a good time.
Everybody's hungry. Everybody's on edge. And so Colton jokingly is asking Michael, oh, does Alan get changed into robes when he comes and visits you in the turret?
Okay. Is it a joke? It's not a joke.
I don't think he's joking.
No.
And so like
he thinks that he's going to be able to slip something in there and ask him when he's maybe caught off guard, not really paying attention, and that he'll answer something.
He keeps going with these big gotcha questions to people. And then when people are trying to figure out, what the fuck did he just say?
Yeah.
Then he's seeing that as, ooh, they're trying to come up with an excuse. Ooh, they're lying. Oh, I got you. Ooh. And so it's like he's confirming it by like making people uncomfortable, putting them on the spot, throwing them off. And then when they react in a way with confusion and there's no reply to give here because there's not a right answer that I can provide to you now. I don't know what that answer is, man. But if I say I don't know, then you're just going to say, oh, you're lying. You thought about it too long. Whatever.
It's a leading question because you already think that he's a traitor.
Yes.
So yeah, there is no right answer to that. That's going to make you look another direction.
So then what he's saying is, oh, Michael clammed up. When have we ever had Michael not have something to say?
Rob was like, to be fair, it takes him a good 30 to 45 seconds before he starts responding.
I've seen that look on his face before when I've just asked him.
It takes a while for the wheels to get greased and start turning.
I've asked him simple questions and I've seen that exact same response from Michael. So this isn't really like a, big blowout sort of reveal here.
Yeah. No, it's funny because Michael has a lot to say when he's the one who's talking. When he gets asked a question, he doesn't really know how to respond.
No. Yeah, the listening and the talking.
He's spending a lot of time formulating all of these things in his head before he actually says them.
I think that's a big part of it. And then also, like, we learned from yesterday where he was like, I'm going to take a back seat. I'm going to listen. I'm going to pay attention. I think he has two modes. It's either he's outgoing or he's inbound. So, like, he can only listen or talk. He can't do both.
He can't process both
Not
at the same
both
time.
of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So he was in kind of a talking mode, and then it was, you're being asked a question now. Uh-oh, I got to shift gears here. So he gets upset. He storms out.
It was bad on Colton's end, right? It didn't look good for him. There's already some suspicion. But then Michael Rappaport doesn't know how to react to this and just starts losing his shit.
Oh, he starts taking laps because at first he leaves the kitchen. He goes over into the library. He's finding any other group of people to go tell them what Colton's doing because Colton's full of shit and Colton's a traitor and you guys need to know this. And as he's like barging into other rooms, then there's people who are, I would say, loyal to Colton, like Mark and Kristen, who are getting up and leaving as soon as anybody's saying anything bad about Colton. They're vacating the space.
Okay, that's not the way I interpreted it.
That was how I looked at it.
I think Michael Rappaport has been so insufferable while they've been there that he's a loose cannon and some people just don't want to be exposed to it anymore.
Yeah, I mean...
Because he's just going from room to room screaming. He's calling people Colton's killers. He was right about one thing, which was he told Colton that he should probably shut the fuck up after how things went last night.
Yes.
Maybe you shouldn't be the one running your mouth trying to catch more traitors in here because it didn't go so well for you with Tiffany.
Not 2 for 2. Yeah, let's put it that way, right?
I think he should have stopped there.
Just leave it at that. But then it was, okay, so as he was going from like room to room, then he's passing by the kitchen. Michael is passing by the kitchen, hears his name being mentioned again. So he barges in like Beetlejuice. He said Michael Rappaport 3 times, and then he appears in the room to then berate you and scream at you some more because Colton is still talking about all these things with Michael.
The problem is he's making everyone else uncomfortable when he's just trying to make Colton uncomfortable.
But I think that was the point. Yeah, and Colton's not uncomfortable. And I think Colton is loving this. He's getting such a huge reaction out of Michael, and he's staying calm. So he looks like the rational one, even though he set this fire up. He started this.
Yeah, with that question about Alan.
With the question about Alan in the turret.
Well, it's time to go to the round table.
Michael is leading the charge. He's storming in. He's the first one in.
And then Candace asks, do you want to maybe address all the yelling that's been going on
I heard
for the last,
some things.
Hour or so.
There's been a lot of screaming in the castle.
It does seem like maybe that's a good place to start.
Johnny was like, yeah, I heard some stuff, but I didn't really catch it all. So we get to hear their version of events of how this took place.
So Michael starts explaining that he's fed up with Colton. Conniving, commiserating Colton. He's been working on his alliteration. He thinks this is really going to catch on.
Yeah.
And Colton's been holding court all day. He's just had people coming in and out of rooms. He's the one circulating his theories on who he thinks the traitors are. And you guys are all just eating it up. Not wrong. Wrong about commiserating. Which,
well, yeah, commiserating's not right. But yeah.
Rob had to point out. Which I was like, Rob, I think you blew your cover a little bit.
Yes.
That you're playing so stupid. You're acting like you don't really know what's fully going on. You're just from a love show. And then you had to...
You're correcting grammar?
Yeah.
At the Roundtable?
You started spitting the truth like a dictionary. You're like, that's not what commiserating means.
I just can't stand it. Yeah, the way he said it so many times. But Michael Rappaport he's saying it repeatedly, so I can understand where that would grate on Rob, where to a certain extent he just needs to say, just stop saying that one. You can come up with other ones, or drop in another.
Colton was, I think,
that's good.
I mean, it makes more sense than conniving, commiserating.
Well, I think for whatever the definition that Michael had in his mind for commiserating, I think that's what it sounded better like that, because it's another adjective. But
anyway, he really then screws up because he says, no one's better at holding a secret than you out of everyone else here, Colton.
Because he's accusing Colton of being a traitor because he would be able to keep it a secret in the way that he was in the closet for 27 years, the first 27 years of his life.
Okay, that's the implication. Nearly everybody at that table interpreted it. Michael's trying to say that is not what I meant. He's trying to backpedal pretty quickly. Even later on in the episode, we see him say that's not the way I meant it.
I think that's the way he meant it.
I agree. And here's my evidence. At the beginning of this episode, where they showed us at breakfast the whole conversation about Colton being on The Bachelor and how he came out later, Michael was sitting next to him for that whole thing. He clocked that information.
I think he learned it there.
And yes, and he threw it out the first opportunity that he got at the Roundtable, because I don't think he knew who Colton Underwood was before this.
Right. So now that makes sense that, well, because then that was what Colton had explained at breakfast too. He was like, I wasn't keeping it a secret. I was convinced that I was straight for the first 27 years of my life too. So like, it wasn't a ploy, that he was going to try to get on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and
tricking people,
convincing people and living the lie, because he was convinced that he was straight at that point.
People automatically clock it as that was homophobic.
Yeah.
You don't have to use somebody's sexuality, weaponize that, their coming out story, as a reason why they'd be a great traitor. So at that point, Natalie's like, look, we're just going to write his name down, right?
Well, because I liked that Johnny was able to clock it and say, what did you mean by that? And could you please explain that a little bit more in detail?
A large number of people on this show are LGBTQ.
Yes.
Like, I don't know why he thought that would land. It didn't. I don't think he thinks much.
No, and I mean, like...
to be fair.
Yeah, it seems like it's just... He was trying to see if people would fill in the blanks. He was saying it vague enough where if people fill in the blanks and then agree with him on it, then that's good. But if they disagree, if they do not like that response, I can walk it back and say, well, that's not what I meant. He was intentionally being vague enough while leading us. It's very clear that that's what he was meaning this entire time. So like, come on, how are you going to say that's not what I meant?
Now, there are some people online who are saying they feel like Colton's hiding behind the fact that he's gay. Like, he's using that as a tool for people to be more likable in this game.
With his off-the-shoulder sweater wear and stuff? Like, that doesn't make him more likable, in my opinion.
I don't think that's really a fair accusation either.
No,
no. I mean, both of those things are, in my opinion, bad takes.
Yeah.
He's unlikable for many reasons.
Oh, yeah. The way that he gets in people's faces and...
The way he's playing his game, the stuff about stalking, generally his personality.
His line of questioning that feels like the opening scene of Inglourious Bastards. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the stuff that I'm like, I could do without.
This is a good example of how having Michael at the round table is a problem, because there was a chance that Colton was going to come up as a name tonight as a traitor for lots of other reasons. No one's going to say his name now.
No, you have rallied everyone at the table to Colton's side now because they are just in opposition of you for what you've said to Colton.
Yes, I was going to say, I don't even know if they're so much on Colton's side as they're just like, get Michael Rappaport out of this castle.
And that's what Natalie brings it down to. She's like, yeah, I don't think we need this at the table anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what Johnny says when he's voting out too. I don't want you in my castle anymore.
They've been listening to him scream for hours. He just shovels food into his face off of his plate. He's annoying during challenges.
Let me just say, round of applause for the post-production editing team, the people who had to do the transcriptions for all of the Michael Rappaport daily footage, the raw footage of that, the amount of work that went into processing the sheer volume of stuff that he was saying that was probably completely off the cuff, random, horrible atrocity things that he was probably speaking on a regular basis that they had to edit around and chop around to make him somewhat presentable and likable in some ways.
Make him palatable.
Palatable. That's it. Yeah, not even likable, because it's still like, oh, we didn't end on a great note. But of those things, how many other things did he say that was in line with that on other circumstances?
It was just a matter of time before this group hit their tipping point of not being able to handle him being here anymore.
I was amazed that we didn't get there sooner.
We do have a couple of more interactions at the round table before we get to voting.
Ron can't let a round table go without pitching a new theory and pointing new accusations at the round table.
He sees an opening because Michael's like, if I'm a traitor, what am I working alone? Because Colton cited all of the people who have been murdered who voted for him the first night. And it's like, what? So nobody else is in the turret with me making these decisions? I'm singularly deciding who we get rid of?
Yeah.
And that's when Ron chimes in and is like, no, it's you and Dorinda.
Funny you should ask, Michael, because there's an answer for that. It's you and Dorinda. Of course, you're just the pit bull, and then she's holding the leash, pretty much, is the theory that Ron's going with here at this point.
No one takes this too seriously. In fact, Michael gets back to continuing to scream, and Alan has to intervene and get them to the point that they start voting.
It's voting time.
We've run out of time, Michael. You've said enough.
Yeah, I think Michael knew this is the end for him. It's not looking good. So he was just trying to say his piece, whatever else he could get out here.
So we get down to the vote, and Lisa, Candace, Dorinda, Michael, and Steven vote for Ron. So there's still a good group. We've picked up some traction since last week.
Right.
And then everyone else votes for Michael. It's not even close.
No.
Michael's banished. And he follows through with what he said he was going to say when he stands up there in the circle of truth. And he says, you just voted out the best looking, the smartest, and the dopest faithful.
And everybody's like,
good riddance.
Yeah, we don't care.
We didn't care whether you were a traitor or you were faithful.
No,
we just wanted you to leave.
Most people, we're saying, I don't care what you say when you get up there now. I just want you out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's worse than a traitor? A bad faithful. That's always what this game comes down to from the social elements.
Well, the funny thing is they've been blaming him a little bit for why they haven't been able to all work together and catch a traitor, except for Donna yet. We'll see if that is actually true.
So
if he's that much of a distraction.
Michael has been the scapegoat, so to speak. Is that what you're getting at?
We've been watching 7 Little Johnstons every single night. And
let's get Trent on the Traitors.
Trent cannot stop saying a scapegoat instead of scapegoat. And I love the visual imagery that creates.
Get
for me.
Trent or Amber on the Traitors. That would be great.
And we don't find out if there's going to be a murder yet. Everyone's going to find out at breakfast. Either everybody walks in or we'll be down a person.
I don't know how that's going to work, because then, don't we go to the turret for the conversation? We're kind of formulating or like recapping from the day of how things went for the Traitors and what do we know? do they even know if they're going to be able to murder somebody at all at this point?
No, we're kind of left on a mystery. So, well, first, before we get to the turret, there's still some conversation.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's a lot of people looking at Colton. So, I mean, maybe Michael left because nobody could stand listening to him anymore.
But now the patience has run out on Colton, I think.
I guess either some of the stuff that was said was landing, or there was already some talk earlier about him. And now people are starting to consider, where do we turn next?
Well, also with him going after Michael so aggressively, and then it's like, oh, he was a faithful. So you wanted us to banish another faithful, is how you can look at that too, of thinking of him as a traitor. Again, I just don't like the way he's playing. I don't like the way that he's trying to catch people off guard, trying to fluster people.
I cannot wait to find out if he took a shield.
Oh, if he took a shield, that's the end of this dude.
Yeah.
Because if he was so worried about murder, shields don't protect you from banishment, bud.
And then I think you said earlier, we talked about Colton mentioning Lisa being quiet. This is where it comes up. So he asks Dorinda, like, is Lisa normally so reserved? Because I noticed she doesn't really talk very much. She's not really throwing out names. And I thought that she would play more in the way that I'm playing. So I just found that surprising. And Dorinda is like, I mean, come to think of it, this is kind of out of character for her.
Oh, that was the end of this episode. I mixed it up with the last episode.
Yeah. So they have that conversation, but there are also witnesses there.
Oh, Rob was there.
Rob is there. So we have a traitor embedded in this group while this is happening.
Yeah, and luckily, I mean, it was a pretty big group.
It was Maura and Jam Jam.
Yeah. And
were the two other people.
With Dorinda and Colton. So then if Rob's then saying, this is information that was readily available to multiple people, so it's going to be hard to trace that back to you if it ends up circulating in the turret now and the traitors know about it.
I think the thing that he's lucky about is Dorinda and Jam Jam have already been looked at as traitors.
Yep.
So
that would actually help.
Yeah. Right.
That looks better.
If you're going to, try to get rid of Colton and there were other people who overheard it, at least you can hope that people would maybe think either Dorinda or Jam Jam were the leak. So they go to the turret and Rob tells them that Colton brought up Lisa's name.
And that's when Lisa's like, I knew it. I knew that guy was going to be a fucking problem. I knew it.
So they're talking, do we murder him? We don't even know if we get to murder anybody tonight.
Yeah, this is very, very difficult. Well, obviously, Lisa and Candace would know if Colton took a shield. They were in his group. So I don't think going for a murder right out the gate after he said that to a large group of people, that's not a good look either, though.
I know, but they're going to have to decide if it's going to be worth getting to the next roundtable and potentially having Colton say Lisa's name there.
If you can even do it, though, because, yeah, can you even murder him? Is that even an option? We don't really know.
Yeah. I wish we could speculate more. I feel like we're left in a really shitty place, especially for our bracketology brackets.
Of course.
Because we have no idea who's up for murder. We don't know if there's even going to be a murder.
I mean, of the groups, there were some people who very clearly did not take a shield and were not involved in that. The only other way that they could end up with a shield is if in the chaos and in the panic of everybody running and helping to bring the statues back, somebody noted where a single shield was or was told by someone else who grabbed a bunch of shields and said, hey, go get a shield. And then they sneak off and go do that. But like, that would be riskier at that point then, right? Because everybody's kind of assuming. It didn't seem like there was any conversation like that was happening or that people had called it out or caught anybody.
They didn't show us enough. Either production has kept it completely off our radar or it didn't happen.
Right. And what I'm saying is like the faithfuls or like the group nobody noticed that. So if it was between like a few people maybe, but like those would be those single ones. I don't think people were going to be able to run to those other statue spots where they already claimed those statues to grab.
To go back and get something.
To go back for something, right? That would be way too obvious.
I don't know. I need to understand what the consequences are of them deciding to murder somebody and then finding out that no one took any shields.
Yeah.
Is it just that everybody's going to walk in at breakfast?
Probably, right?
And they're not going to know that someone was even attempted to be murdered? Or are they going to tell them that the traitors attempted to murder last night but couldn't?
Right. So I don't know. Yeah, because I mean, technically, like, everybody started with a shield of sorts. So if they did, then that just would play out that way. So yeah, it's hard to tell.
Would you go for Colton for the murder?
I mean, if they know that he took a shield, then it's not going to do anything anyway. So then you'd have to go with somebody else. Do we think he took a shield? I think he might have took a shield. I think Natalie might have took a shield. That group of 4, they might have took a shield.
Yeah, I'm very suspicious about those 2 groups.
So
which if they do, that means that they would only have the 2 other groups to pick from.
Because honestly, it would have been better if Lisa and Candace convinced Colton to not take a shield, and then you just hope that somebody else takes a shield. So then that way he is exposed and you could murder him if you need to. Because if he's in your group and he's saying, here, everybody grab a shield, there's 4 of them, and then they say, no, we have to protect the rest of the group. If you could talk him out of taking a shield, and then you luck out that somebody else did take a shield, then you have your shot.
I don't know if I'd do it, if I'd go for him. Let's say he is on the table as an option to murder.
Yeah.
I don't know if you just risk the possibility of him bringing up Lisa and use the fact that he has been wrong repeatedly.
Oh, yeah.
And say you're just throwing another name out there to distract us from the fact that you're the traitor and you've had us killing faithfuls in here night after night.
Colton, I think it's time for you to take a back seat because you were right about Donna. Bravo. Well done. But now you've had 2 in a row that were not good.
It's just once that happens, you can't murder him.
Right.
Once you have a face-off at the round table.
Unless the face-off isn't between Lisa or Candace and Colton, you can get somebody else fired up on that idea if Kristen wants to speak out against him because she's already getting very leery about that. She's warning people before she goes to bed, hey, if I'm murdered in the next day or 2, it's Colton, guys.
Well, hopefully she said that to somebody else because Kristen was in the group with Rob. So if Rob knows his group did not take a shield.
Oh, no, I thought that was with a smaller group. That was with 2 other people.
I know.
By
I'm
the
saying,
stairs.
I wonder if she said it to anybody else.
I don't know.
Because who did actually, I think I have a note on that.
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, this was like right at the base of the stairs. I think there was only 2 people that she said that to. I can't remember who it was, though. It was right before
It was
bed.
Mark and Eric.
Okay. So, like, that could be interesting, right? Is if she said that to anybody else, because no traitors know that, because then they could say, ooh, that would really get suspicion on Colton if we murder Kristen. But do they know that? Is that information available elsewhere?
Well, Kristen did tell Candace that she thinks Colton's a traitor.
Right.
So if they're smart, they murder Kristen.
They might be able to lean into that, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen was in a group that did not have access to shields. So I think that would bump Kristen up on my list as far as possibilities for murder.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can at least take a shot. It would add suspicion to Colton for banishment.
That's what you need.
That's what you want. Yeah.
Yeah. He has to get banished.
That would be better. All
right, that's my vote. That's my play.
That would be the play, I think, for where we've landed. But we don't even know. Is Alan going to walk in and be like, oh, nobody took a shield, so you guys don't even get to write a name down? Like, is it that anticlimactic? If
they don't get to get rid of somebody here in the turret, I think that's going to cause big problems next week for the traitors.
Because isn't it like the point of a shield would be to... Sometimes the traitors don't know who has the shields. So, like, is that what it comes down to, I guess, in the end? I don't know. Because then even if a group took the shields, but then they still write down somebody's name, it's just, did the murder actually take place? I don't think that they're going to know until... I think that's the benefit, is that they're trying to give the traitors an actual reaction to someone walking in or not walking in.
Yeah.
And being surprised.
Looking genuinely surprised.
Right.
Well, we'll find out more next week.
We'll have to see, and we'll stay tuned.
Also, if you're looking for more to listen to before we're back with the Traitors, we are also recapping Suddenly Amish.
It's a wild ride over there. And we've got updates on the Bracketology. Remember, if you're in the Bracketology, set your lineups. Don't forget.
Yeah, I feel like this week is really just going off of vibes.
Yeah, a lot of it is because it's Going to be difficult to tell how that banishment conversation is going to go. We don't even know if a murder is going to take place, so be mindful of that. Get your theories in set here. But a couple of updates. The top, 10? I think there's less ties now for the top 10 spots here, but we've got 8478 Ice, Bana, NM Congas, Hellabreds, Crystal, Hulks for Keeps, Mia Girl, Desert Dog 155, Tootsie Jean, Tiger Fan, Suzaku, Suzaku, something like that, and Bookworm 0824.
Where are we? Aren't we up there somewhere?
Yeah, we're in there. Yeah, we're like tied for 5th place right now. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just saying, we're not going to win anything if we win, guys. Usually what happens is, if we're going off of the Special Forces experience for Bracketology, we'll forget to set the lineup for the finale, and then that really drops us down the list there.
Yeah, we're not in the running, to be fair.
No, we're not going to take our own prizes.
Just for humble brags.
Yeah, humble brag, for sure.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.